Welcome back to Perspectives. US President Donald Trump says the United States will not take sides but will instead try to provide mediation after Iraqi forces seized the oil-rich city of Kirkuk Monday. Baghdad says the Peshmerga withdrew without fighting, but clashes were reported south of Kirkuk. The operation was launched a month after the Kurdistan region held a controversial independence referendum, which Iraq's Prime Minister deemed unconstitutional. I24 News senior Middle East correspondent Mohammed Al-Qasim reports.
It was over in a matter of hours. Iraqi forces rolled into the disputed city of Kirkuk on Monday, taking full control of the oil-rich city. Both Baghdad and the Kurds claimed the city as their own. The military offensive sparked outcry from the Kurdistan regional government, who expressed anger at the lack of a strong U.S. response. Armed Kurdish residents in the city took to the streets with their weapons, accusing Iran of being behind the offensive.
They are Iranians and not Iraqi soldiers who are coming to occupy our city. We view them as terrorists and we cannot let them enter our city. We will fight them and we will fight Qasem Soleimani.
Tensions between the two U.S. allies in the fight against the so-called Islamic State organization began last month when a non-binding independence referendum on Kurdish region of northern Iraq passed. Baghdad has declared the vote illegal. And on Sunday, Iraq's Kurdish leadership renewed their offer to peacefully resolve the crisis with Baghdad. The Peshmerga forces took control of the disputed territory in 2015 when the Iraqi army fled an IS offensive. They were instrumental in helping the Iraqi military and Shia militia defeat the terrorist group in Iraq. Now, they find themselves on the defensive. Mohammed Al-Qasim, I24 News.
Now, the swift downfall of the Kurdish Peshmerga seemingly taking the US by surprise, with its military falling in just 15 hours. The conflict leaves Washington in an awkward position, with two key US allies in the region on the verge of major conflict. I24 News diplomatic correspondent Nina Larson has the details. Nina.
Yes, Tracy, you're absolutely right. This is placing the United States in a very delicate diplomatic and military situation. The US is a close ally of both the Iraqi government and the KRG. Both are absolutely critical in on the ground in fighting ISIS. Obviously, ISIS out of Mosul by now, but they're in several other enclaves all over northern Iraq, and that's the absolute priority as far as the United States is concerned. So the US is basically not taking sides. That's what President Trump is saying, and that's being echoed by the State Department and the Pentagon. The Pentagon, if anything, is downplaying the Iraqi army's role in taking over the city and territories outside. And on the ground, the US coalition leaders are playing interlocutor between Baghdad and between the Peshmerga. At any cost, they want to calm tensions in the region. No one wants to see this escalate into a civil war situation. And just as importantly, they don't want to encourage the influence of regional players like Turkey and Iran, who also have a lot at stake here. So we have to watch this situation in the coming days. And again, the international fallout from that Kurdish independence referendum keeps echoing across the region.
And for more, I'm joined by a Middle East analyst and senior fellow at the Security Studies Group in Washington, D.C., Matthew Brodsky. Matthew, as always, good to have you here on Perspectives. Listening to Nina's report there, as well as Mohammed Al-Qasim, is the United States here in between a rock and a hard place? How can they play this?
I would say instead of a rock and a hard place, it's in between a fantasy and in between reality. And I'm really hoping the pendulum starts swinging soon toward reality. President Trump made the right decision when it came to the Iran deal and to try to strengthen the deal. That was part of a 6-month review of Iranian policy. The big problem here is that the Obama administration, when they made the deal, reoriented the United States toward Iran. So all of the apparatus of our government has been basically to ensuring that the deal stays in place, which is to do nothing that would go against Iran. In this case right now, that's what we do not want to be doing. But there are still people in the administration in key positions in the State Department, Brett McGurk being an important person who's in charge of the anti-ISIS campaign, who are really part of the problem in ensuring that what we're doing is still focusing on ISIS to the detriment of all else. The United States and President Trump looked fairly foolish to have had this happen and to not choose a side this coming just days after he delivered his speech on the Iran deal. This is literally Qasem Soleimani from the IRGC and Iran called Trump's bluff, and he blinked.
Right, and just briefly, because we're about to go out for a break, you touched on ISIS. How could this group capitalize on this conflict?
ISIS is going to be able to capitalize just because the Sunnis are going to feel dispossessed. More immediately, Iran will be capitalizing on it.
Right. Thank you so much, Matthew Brodsky. Appreciate you being here with us on Perspectives. All right, we're going out for another break, but stay right here. Coming up, should Europe be afraid as Austria looks set to form government with a far-right party with alleged neo-Nazi links? Preliminary results of the country's election could cause another headache for the European